One's an editorial, one's an article.
When it's in Baltimore Sun,
It's
the articles are editorials.
It's the EO.
Yeah,
You do have a
Big difference.
yeah, exactly.
Madam Chairman, I'm be that guy again, because
That's fine.
here we go. Do we need to go into executive session if we're talking about something politically sensitive?
I don't believe we do need to. I would prefer that we have, right, I mean, I think this is a public discussion.
Okay.
Right, it is in the newspaper. If the discussion gets to a point where it's heated or ugly, then we will move to executive session.
Okay.
That's my gut feeling. Do I hear anybody saying contrary?
don't know yet.
Right. Well,
Consider the number of the people that are here.
yeah,
We're gonna
not
talk about it
I think
anyhow.
for now, we're in a public forum, and it was in the newspapers. And we can leave that up for discretion.
You have a
I don't think
Bluetooth,
so.
I will in a second. And, I mean, it's up to the members, but if you have you wanna weigh in on something.
You got it?
I'm,
If it's a public meeting, is there any concerns about video?
Thank you.
Well, that's why I asked the question, Ian.
I'm sorry. Ann.
well, I mean, we're a small enough meeting in here where I don't see any videotaping or, it's a good question.
I mean, I don't see the Baltimore Sun rushing in to cover this,
Right,
so.
or Brian Sears with his ear against the,
It has been,
right.
it is public
Give me
information.
1 second now.
Yeah, it's a
little
public meeting. It's an open meeting.
Sidetracked here.
That's the question.
I would suggest that we go to the council beyond that point, that we may consider a executive session.
And if I could ask everybody to read this, so we don't spend all evening at it.
15 minutes of my time, and then I'm gonna plug out.
There's a handout.
Angela?
This one being a public setting, it is available for us to record or video should we choose.
Yes.
Thank you.
I wanted just to see if this is paired up.
Testing, one, two. Ground control.
And then I gotta find the volume.
Hi, this is Allie, a donor to the National
I'm gonna
Center for
restart and-
Transgender Equality.
We'll start in the beginning. I'm sorry.
At 6:05 p.m. today
Could you
from
put pause for one-
6:09.
Just to be clear, what this is a robocall that went out to Republican voters in the 7th legislative district of Maryland, which is 2/3 of it is in Baltimore County, about 1/3 of it is in Harford County. So this was a message that was released. So everybody would have essentially received that.
And just so you know, the text of the robocall is in the Maryland Matters article, so that the actual follow along if you'd like.
Okay, would you want to?
I'm not going to be making any opening arguments. I'm going to be making a motion after we've listened and after everybody has a chance to read it.
At 6:05 p.m. today from 410-989-7561. Hi, this is Allie, a donor to the National Center for Transgender Equality. Calling to ask you to support Delegate Kathy Salega in tomorrow's Republican primary election. Kathy Salega is a true friend of the transgender community, having voted for House Bill 1003, making it illegal to discriminate against transgender persons in the workplace. With the support of lawmakers willing to work across the aisle like Kathy Salega, transgenders will soon be able to use the bathrooms of their choice again. This is Allie calling to ask you to support Kathy Salega, a friend of the transgender community. Thank you. End of message to repeat.
So, has everyone heard that, or would you like to walk up closer to hear it and I can play it one last time?
You said the text
We can
is
read
in
it.
Maryland Matters?
The text, I believe, is in the
Well,
robocall.
I know it is, I'm just making that,
Yeah.
either way, if y'all don't wanna hear it, that's fine. I'm just out making an offer.
Okay. A couple of other things to note. There really is Center for Transgender Equality, but this didn't come from them. This came from the office of, from the campaign of Rick Impalaria, Delegate Impalaria. Okay. Has everybody had a chance to read this? Or heard it? Because of what you've heard, I move that because of the actions of Delegate Rick Impalaria, that he be reprimanded. By the way, this is not comfortable for me. I oppose, I'm stopping my motion right now to interject. When he was arrested for drunk driving, Don Murphy pushed hard to have us reprimand him for those actions. And my thought was, there's an election coming, the voters have a chance to be able to decide based off of true information. Unfortunately, what we've heard is Delegate Impalaria's campaign giving false information to Republican voters, and they never had a chance to react. This is our chance to react. Therefore, I move that because of the actions of Delegate Rick Impalaria, that he be reprimanded, and we, the Baltimore County Republican Central Committee, call upon him to resign from the Maryland House of Delegates.
At this point, I'd also like to interject, we're going to limit discussion on this for no more than 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Absolutely no more, and call the vote.
Thank you.
And that's going to require, my motion is going to require a second to proceed.
And I second the motion. I think
Okay,
he-
so, again, all those in favor?
No,
We
no,
just-
no,
You
we're not calling
need
it
a
a
motion for,
We just needed a motion.
Yeah, that's
We
motion
need a
second.
oh, not to limit the discussion. Okay,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
actually, there has to be motion for the discussion, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You can say limit the discussion to 15 minutes, wherever you want to hold it.
Right.
But you don't need a motion for that, that's just the rules of, that's just the
No,
I
rules.
don't think you need a motion on that.
We do need a
No.
motion.
Yeah, you
Who cares?
take 'em. So go ahead and make the motion.
Okay,
Someone
no, I
second.
can't make a motion, so I'm going to ask somebody.
Motion to limit the discussion to 15 minutes.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's what I was getting at. Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, so from now on, from here forth, 15 minutes max.
Yeah.
And limiting it to one discussion per person,
15 minutes. And I'd like everybody to be heard who wants to be heard.
as many times as they like.
Well,
Okay.
again, everybody gets one turn. If we have time, then we'll circle back, but one, I think that's fair.
I've made a motion, it's been seconded. At this time, we're going into discussion. Does anybody want to discuss this?
You want to start in the way we normally do it?
Well, Kathy's the chairman.
Okay.
Well,
Well, you want to start the way we normally do? and-
Well, the clock's ticking, somebody speak up, please.
I mean,
You want to go around?
right, we'll go around the room for anybody who would want, I'll start here, go that way, and come on up.
There you go, go.
Everybody can be heard once. If we have time, then we'll go back to a second time.
Go.
No more than 15 minutes.
Go.
So go ahead, Newt.
All right, Al, knowing somewhat about the story, what is the status of this case at this moment?
The status of this is that Delegate Impalaria, as it says in the article, denies knowing about this, which kind of is farcical. Everybody who's been involved in a local campaign knows everything that's going on in a local campaign. We're not talking about the governor.
Is-
The speaker has fired and one of the two people involved, and Ally, not her real name, I'm trying to remember her real name, is also not allowed to work for the Maryland House of Delegates.
Isn't this true that it's not been established that Rick is in any way responsible for this yet? We may think what we think, we may know what we know, but the prosecutor has not determined that yet. That his chief of staff is the person being held responsible at this point.
That is, this is not a court of law.
Understood.
Okay. Delegate Impalaria also has denied many other things that
Right.
are going to be true.
However, the issue here is what? Everything he's done in his past life, or just this instance?
Truthfully, this motion deals with this incident, where he misrepresented, or he allowed his campaign
Understood.
to misrepresent
I just wanted to hear-
his actions.
And currently, this is a violation of election law.
Pardon?
Currently, this is a violation, possible violation of election law.
Right, it's what Paul Short went to jail for. Now, Paul and I have spoken about this. When Paul did it, that was
Hanson.
that was with the early campaign. You know, just, yeah, everybody go home, we won this thing. Paul said he wasn't sure it was illegal. Now that he's served time in jail, he's pretty darn sure. Rick Ampelaria's actions came subsequent to everybody knowing that it's illegal.
Okay.
Additional?
MJ?
I have something to say on this. First of all, you're asking us to sanction someone that's with the Republican Party. I don't see where it behooves, if he has not done something like raped a grandmother or killed a child, we're not talking that he was guilty of anything. You're talking about a drunk driving charge, and whatever he has done 20 years ago is mentioned in this article, but yet he himself has not been made guilty of anything. There's a lot of supposition, and I, for one, don't feel that as Republicans, in a small percentage that we are in the state, need to be eating our own.
I agree.
Rick? I'm sorry, Pete?
I'd like to hear what the outcome of the state prosecutor's case is. So that.
John?
Like you said with the Don Murphy thing, I was here for that, and, you know, if I would've really wanted to get rid of the guy, or, you know, we wanted to, that would've been a chance. I would still like to hear, like what Pete said and what MJ said, I'd like to hear more. However, you know, having said that, he's done nothing to, I mean, I go by his voting record. His last 2018 GA votes were like some of the most horrendous votes, next to Bob Flanagan's in the GA for Republicans. I mean, literally, he voted, you know, about as liberal as you can be and still be a Republican. I would like to hear more what the state has to say before we do anything with that.
I would say that being a liberal is wrong, but it's not a sin. And that's not why I'm calling on this to happen. I also believe personally that when you're a candidate, you're picking your campaign manager, your chief of staff. You should be held responsible for the actions of your underling.
And I agree with that, but I still think that there's more the state has, or whatever, the Board of Elections. I'd like to hear more about that.
I tend to agree with them, and also what, I'm curious, because I haven't had the chance to read the article about the response of Kathy Schillinger herself. What is her take on this?
All politics and personalities aside, willfully and knowingly misleading voters is shameful. And I've got, it's cut off, I'm sorry, my printout is bad here, but we must protect the integrity of our elections. Beyond the act itself, the content of the call was divisive. I'm old school, I believe in anonymous acts are often a sign of cowardice. If you if you have someone saying you should put your, if you have something to say, you should put your name on it. Both get, so she has also cooperated with the state prosecutor, is my understanding, and she is the one who brought the call to the state prosecutor's attention, just as far as my personal knowledge goes on that issue, so.
Now, that said, she knows nothing about this. I haven't called her and said, hey, Kathy, guess what I'm up to?
No, I was saying, like, since
Yeah,
she's
but
the
she's come out
most
for-
directly involved person, what is her reaction? Is she like?
She believes, and frankly, everybody in Annapolis believes that, that Rick knew and actually set it up. But, you know, there's a difference between everybody knowing and you finding the OJ's glove.
I agree with Pete. I think we should wait for the determination of the state before we go further.
And real quick, if the state does determine that he was in a wrong position, can we revisit this issue?
We can do whatever we want.
Okay, that's fine.
Bradley?
Ask a question about who was coming back with the same thing.
I
believe it's the end of the month. I believe the court date begins the end of the month.
Madam Chair, at this time, could I hold this off could I withdraw the motion and we look at it again at the.
Rubber plate, they didn't bring a rubber plate, they brought a project.
After the prosecutor is, come back to the nation.
Sure, I would resist that and at least allow the discussion to continue until the discussion is complete, and then I would support that motion. I just feel
Okay.
we've
Okay.
half the room is
And
that
I
time
think that's-
to.
Okay, then I will not withdraw to that moment. At this
Okay.
moment. But-
Time and-
We'll hold off on the withdrawal. Those, and I wanna say something too. Everybody here, do not feel like you are boxed into a corner to speak. You are able to speak.
Yes.
So I don't want people to feel like we're going down the road and everybody has to say something.
Yeah, everybody has to pitch in.
I realize many of you are new and I want you to be comfortable here.
And OJ didn't do it, just to let you know.
So let's move on, Bradley.
So I would like to respond to the argument of Republicans eating each other alive. That's literally what this call is doing. He's attacking other incumbent Republicans.
And lying.
Misleading them, lying.
Yeah, so he's lying about one Republican.
So I would
to all
normally,
Republicans.
be opposed to something going against one of our incumbents, but he did what he did.
Anybody to speak?
Yeah, okay.
Tony, no, Jonah, Kimberly?
No,
Okay.
they decided to be smart about this. For those of you who are new, this has been going on for a decade plus, easily a decade plus. Impler has done some really dirty stuff in the past, and that's how he rolls politically. I think it's unfortunate. I think what you guys are saying down there about seeing what the actual facts of the case are as opposed to what our opinion of the case is something that's important if we're going to take this step. So.
I would agree also too, Tony, with what you were saying. I think we are here to support our elected officials, and the people of the community clearly spoke for who they wanted. They knew his past. I'm not here to advocate for Rick Impalaria, but Al, you seem pretty passionate about getting him out of here, I must say.
Oh, yeah, he's not going to resign. I completely believe he's not going to resign.
I can't say I blame him, but I'm just saying, I think people are proven guilty at the time. You're innocent until proven guilty, and politics, from what I can see, is an ugly game, and people lie and deceive every day. You know it and I know it. We all know people in here who've lied and deceived. They just haven't been caught. And for you to accuse someone of sending out a robo message to someone that isn't his voice, people do things, could it be sabotage? I don't know, I'm not here to really judge that, but I do believe that we should support the candidates that the people elected into office, and at least until they're heard in a court of law to stay if they're guilty or innocent. And then I believe we should support the vote to move forward on what we should do, but that's just my opinion.
And as I say, I've had many opportunities to come out against Impalaria against Delegate Impalaria, or when we had Todd Huff getting his DWI. And I'm very reticent about casting a bad shadow on elected Republicans. Frankly, it reflects poorly on us. But this time, he reflects so poorly on us again and again and again that I just want to be able to tell everybody, we've already said that he's an apple that I don't want to represent our group.
But if I may,
Sure.
the people have elected him knowing the apple that he is. And again, there's a lot of people, Al, who do deceptive things every day. You know that. Come on. I mean, everybody lies and deceives. You're very aware of that. And maybe he did.
I'm not saying that, and I've
I'm
certainly sent
sure.
out some.
But I think for us to vote on kicking out our own, the guy hasn't even been tried in front of a jury. Who are we? We're nobody to decide if he should come or go, in my opinion. The people elected him.
We're not voting.
No, right, we're not removed.
We have no power to do that.
So what are we voting for?
It's almost like a vote of no confidence kind of thing.
And what would that,
Absolutely nothing, absolutely nothing.
It's just a vote of no confidence amongst ourselves and that's it? Doesn't go anywhere?
It will go out in public.
That he doesn't have the support of the Republican committee is what that's gonna say.
correct.
And that could be kind of damaging. I think the gentleman should have a right in court and let the jury decide. Thanks, Tone. Was that well done?
Hey,
And I would do the same for any of you. I'm sorry.
Rick Impalaria is an embarrassment to the Republican Party. He's been fined by the environmental people for dumping crap in the back river. He's been locked up for DWI and spent time in jail. And now he comes along and he says, I didn't know nothing about the person he's supposed to be supervising. I'm not buying this story. That's just my opinion. Go ahead.
Well, whatever Rick is and isn't, as Angela said, the people in that district have spoken, and there were great candidates that they could have voted for, Tammy or Dave Seaman or a bunch of other people. That was,
Or
that
myself.
was a very, thank you. I don't know why the people in the 7th district keep voting him in, but they do. I personally don't like the drama. I would love if we could just go, I don't know how many months. I would take a couple months without having all this interpersonal drama of who did what and who said what to whom and why. I'm sick of it. I am sick of it. I was so excited, ready for the Lincoln dinner and everything else. And when I found out all about this weekend, I'm like this close to putting in my resignation from this committee because I don't like all this. We're like these goody-goody two-shoes of blah, 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 blah. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. We all know he's an ass sometimes. Al, you can be an ass sometimes. And come on. I am sick of all this interpersonal drama of eating our own and not supporting one another and we all need to get a thicker skin. This is politics. We need to get a thicker skin. And who are we to judge? And he is innocent until proven guilty on this. Now, it's bad thing. She won anyhow. I mean, the whole thing was, it wasn't like she lost her election. She won anyhow. She still was the top vote getter and everything else. I don't know why you feel compelled to spend time and energy and gnashing the teeth, number one, to do all this interpersonal stuff. Number two is waking up the sleeping bear of a Rick and Valeria and others that have come against us as a central committee several years ago. I don't know why you would want to aggravate him against us. At this point, we have created a truce after he tried to come against us those several years ago and rearrange our committee. He has left us alone. We need to leave him alone. The voters have spoken.
The voters were lied to, and for you,
But I mean, and
and
on
so
top
they
of
didn't know about, they didn't know this was going on at the
We're
time.
gonna move on in one second to the remaining people.
They've known a lot that he's a good old boy from the east side in the full sense of that word of what that means on the east side. And the east side people or east side people, for good or bad or whatever, he's the epitome of that.
Hey, Norma, for people who are not, haven't been here, Jonah, you want to explain what she's talking about?
No, I was just going to say it's been 16 minutes.
I started a little late,
yeah,
so
yeah.
based on that, I'm going to extend this discussion for 5 minutes so we can get through all these people here, and then we're gonna call the question.
Well, Norma brought up a point that several years ago, several members of the legislature, basically tried to take power away from the Central Committee.
That's true.
Okay, and they came after us, and Blair was one of those guys who came pretty hardball against us.
HB 1513.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's
So
okay.
I don't know why we want to do this without, I think that there's a lot of things you can devote time and energy on. I don't think this should be one.
Thank you, Norma.
Less than 5 minutes.
Ruth, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Kind of lean towards recommendating him.
Okay.
Lisa?
Thank you. Lisa, do you
I
have
mean,
anything?
I don't know all the history, but I mean, I think if somebody, I'm also leaning towards reprimanding, particularly if, I mean, I guess we're gonna wait anyway till we find out whether or not they can prove this, but I don't know all the history. I don't have a problem, speaking out against somebody who's not representative of the way, of what we want, or who we want to see in power. You know, our representatives, we should have a certain amount of dignity, and we should, I mean, you don't want a scuzzy person in office, so I would kind of go with what you said, Bradley, like eating our own. I mean, this is who we want to say is our own. If this man is not a good man, and he's continually doing these kinds of things, I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards
Jack, you have anything you'd like to add?
I would wait.
Okay. Al, I'm bypassing you, you've already spoken too much.
All right,
Josh?
I will be as quick as possible.
You've spoken.
The state bylaws, the party exists to secure honest and responsible government founded on our belief in worth, dignity, and the rights of every person. Okay, so let's just look at this issue for a second. For those of you who've never been involved in a campaign, he's bypassed the State Board of Elections administrative process for fines. They've deemed that what he's done is so egregious that they're not just going to levy the average fines, they have referred the issue to the state prosecutor. Now, I understand you all want to wait, and I think that's fine if we want to wait, but I think we should be cognizant of that we should hold our own responsible. Okay, I hear party infighting, and I understand that, and I agree with that, but we have to be responsible for our own before we can point out what's happening on the other side of the aisle. Okay, this is not the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth example of things that Delegate Riccapalaria has done that have been an affront to the party, to the people of Maryland, to the people he's worked with. And if you think for just a minute that he works in Annapolis and he doesn't know what's going on with his chief of staff and what's going on with his campaign, then you have no idea what's going on. I've worked in Annapolis for many years, and there is no way that the delegate does not know what his chief of staff is doing. There's no way that the money it costs to run that robocall is coming from the chief of staff making the salary that they make in Annapolis. It's coming from the campaign, it's coming from the delegate, it's coming from somewhere. Okay, he put out a robocall with no authority line. That's a violation. He pretended to be a group. Fraud, a group that actually exists. He pretended to be that group through the telephone. That's fraud. This is an absolute affront to our party, and I think that we need to stand up and we need to tell everyone in the county that we do not stand for this and we do not stand behind this man. So I think when this is all done, I think that's what we're going to say, and I hope you all will consider that as we wait to see what the state prosecutor does. But we really should get out in front of this, and there's no reason to wait. We're not talking about convicting him. Our actions have nothing but a symbolic statement. I'm not talking about removing him from office. If this were an actual action, I'd say yes, due process, let's wait, let's hear with the state prosecutor, let's hear with the judge or the jury, depending on the type of trial. But that's not what's happening here. Okay, Delegate Shalega agrees that these actions were wrong. Everyone in Annapolis agrees that this was wrong. The speaker on the other side of the aisle also agrees that this was wrong and fired the people involved. And if you think that's an easy action, because I hear people laughing and they're going, the speaker, he's on the other side of the aisle. If you think firing people is an easy action, then you've never employed people, and you know that that is not easy and that there are legal ramifications to just missing people as well. So I really think the committee needs to get behind this, and I will be, if anyone wants to discuss this afterwards and wants to talk to me about this, I'm happy to discuss it. But how many strikes are we going to give the guy? It's time that we make a statement as a committee. So
All right,
Just to be
thank you,
clear,
Josh.
John,
No, Al, we have to move on. No, I really have to.
You're from the east side, correct?
I
I am
have to
from
have
the east
two
side.
other people speak, and then we're going to call the question.
I would
Or
agree with
move on.
reprimand, period.
Right.
I think those are very, very accurate points. Angela, you brought up an excellent point. Having been involved directly and indirectly in campaigns, I'm fully aware of the integrity or lack thereof of some of our elected officials. But I think that before we make a decision, I also think that it's important that we weigh in all the evidence. That's the cop in me. We weigh in all the evidence and all the facts before we make that decision. And let's see what the state says. And that may or may not sway us. Hopefully it doesn't, but at least it gives us some additional information or additional insight into our decision making.
All right, thanks, Ray. All
Madam Chairman, I
right,
would
so,
withdraw the motion at this time.
okay.
Can I say that I applaud Kathy Shalega for supporting our transgender